video game ramble here today. I'm just gonna ramble about all video game related topics. Talking about how I'm gonna proceed with some of my collecting, what I've been playing, stuff like that. I started playing that Akai game. We've been playing Kirby, but I started playing some of that Akai game. I think that's how you say it. Pretty creepy so far. It has a little bit of a Fatal Frame-ish atmosphere. It's in first person though. I had to go out and do something outside the village type area, and then shit started happening. I had to make my way in. There's been a few little puzzles to do, and now you collect yokai things and it tells you about them. I've encountered a few, nothing crazy, but now I have this, I don't know which one it is. It's talking to me because when I get back to the buildings, the village or whatever, I have to find a cursed object. I found that, but now I have to find the stuff to banish it, so I gotta draw this symbol out. You gotta do, but you gotta be real, kind of do it quickly because you're getting stalked by this fucking thing. And if you do it for too long, it just appears in your face and kind of kills you. So I gotta bounce back and forth and be stealthy there. So that's where I left off. It's okay so far. It's I saw it was $15 on the fucking Xbox store. Apparently, I was kind of but yeah. Like I said, we played Kirby. We'd stop for a little bit, but we're on the the fire area, I guess you'd want to call it. Obviously, that's a cool game. I've been enjoying the shit out of that. I talked about that before. Still gotta do gameplay on it. As for collecting, I'm still gonna continue on, I think, with the Xbox stuff. Maybe some PS2 shit as well, but I don't know for sure how that's gonna go. I did order another Xbox game from eBay on, I think it was Saturday night I ordered it. So maybe I'll do that kind of as a pickup with a drink review. I did pick up another energy drink today, so maybe I'll do it with that if it gets here on time. Or maybe I'll do it with some of the tasting of the British snacks. I don't know. It's a game I was interested in, though. It kind of after that era was over. It didn't review fairly well, but it looked alright. It was $8.80 with tax, so not too expensive. As for collecting, like I said, I'm going to move more towards the Xbox, continue the Xbox tip, and maybe some PS2 in there. PS2 is a little tougher to collect for because a lot of stuff I'd be interested in is a little more expensive. I mean, I wouldn't be going after those survival horror games. Those are, oh my god, no. Mainly try for the Xbox though, because those games are still not overly expensive. Some are, but not many. Out of that generation, it is the cheapest, and if you're including the Dreamcast in there, the Xbox is the cheapest system to collect for. Of those four, the Dreamcast, Xbox, Cube, and GameCube, and PS2. PS2 is kind of in that position where there's games all over the place of value, so you're getting a lot of those third-party games for cheaper, but exclusive, a lot of exclusive Sony games, the survival horror ones are expensive, or the RPGs, like a Dark Cloud 2, are a little more valuable, shit like that. I mean, you can still buy, you can get Devil May Cry's fairly cheap, the God of Wars, you can get for cheap, Metal Gears and shit, but, I don't know. But the Xbox, all across the board, is fairly cheap, even their exclusives aren't expensive. There are some rarer titles that will cost you a little bit, but, it's a system you can collect for and get a lot of good games for cheap. I've been looking at some of the Star Wars ones recently, like Star Wars Starfighter. I was looking at which I might end up picking up either just on the Xbox store or maybe they have a dual pack with that and the pod racing game, Episode 1 Racer, I think it was. I don't know, but that was another one. I was interested in that one back in the day. I remember playing a demo for that. It came included with another game I had gotten. I guess maybe it was one of the maybe it's Knights of the Old Republic 2 or something. And it was fun, but I just never got around to buying it. It's actually lost some value these days, so it's a little cheaper to buy. But those two I've been looking at. Even the first Knights of the Old Republic I have been. The second one I have on the Xbox One. I downloaded it. It's one of the original Xbox titles they have on there. But the first one is such. I love the second one too, but the first one's such a fucking classic, man. And that's another game that's kind of dropped in value. They're making a remake of that, aren't they? I was looking at that. I was looking at Star Wars Obi-Wan Adventures, or whatever the fuck it was called. There was that one that was an exclusive for the Xbox. That was an early title for the Xbox. And there's the Clone Wars. They had Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. They did not get Bounty Hunter. That was on the PS2 and GameCube. Star Wars Bounty Hunter with Jango Fett. I had that on the Cube for a little bit. It was actually kind of cool. I didn't beat it or anything, but it was pretty fun. I have Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. I haven't necessarily an interest in the two Battlefronts. But yeah, I've been looking at those and some other games as well that I've looked at. Enclave, which is one I used to have. The Pirates of the Caribbean game, which is not. It's a Bethesda game. It's pretty much like an open world type game that just has the fucking name Pirates of the Caribbean on it. What else? A bunch of things. I mean, I look a good amount. Simpsons Road Rage is another one. I'd love to get the Simpsons hit and run again, but that game has jumped up in value. And I've had and sold that game. Like, I've gotten that game from garage sales like 5 times for like every system. I've gotten it for the PS2, at garage sales, the GameCube, and I'm pretty sure the Xbox. I last had it for the Xbox, but I sold it maybe a few years ago. And that game's probably $20 now more. I mean, you can get it for like $30, $35, and it's a fucking awesome game. I might do it, even though I'd beaten it back in the day. It's a game that it's an awesome game if you played it. It's just a GTA Lite, but in the Simpsons universe. You know, I'm still looking at the Xbox Series S because it's the only one fucking available. And, I want to almost just get it, but part of me is like, because I was looking at like pre-orders on games that are coming out, on the Switch, Xbox, and all that shit. And so much of it's actually coming out on the Xbox One as well. I think that game, The Quarry, it's another one. It's like a horror game, and it's the same people who did the Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures games. That one's coming out. And I think that's coming to Xbox One as well. I think that comes out, maybe in the summer, I don't know. There was a game that looked kind of cool. I don't know if it was on the Switch or if it was on, I think it was on the Xbox. It was called, it's like a $30 or $40 game. It's not on the Switch, it's on the other systems, PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. It's called like Phobia with an F. It looked like a cool horror game. It's like in a hotel or something. I was like, oh, that's right up my fucking alley. I think it might have even been $30, so I was like, oh shit. That's coming to Xbox One. A lot of these games come to Xbox One, and part of me is like, the PS5 at least has the Ratchet and Clank game that only came out on the PS5. It's like you need the PS5. But I think even now PS5 is kind of like, fuck, people can't get these fucking systems. These games are just going to keep coming out on the older systems anyway, or they don't look as good, but what the fuck, It's almost like stopping me from wanting to get the Series S for the time being, at least, until I know there's shit that's specifically going to be for these systems, because the graphical jump isn't enough for me to just drop another $300 on a system. I want to have the Xbox Series S with games to play. Now, I would assume, like, the Elder Scrolls is not going to be on the Xbox One as well. I don't know, though. You never fucking know. So my collecting, my gaming is kind of in a weird place right now, because I'm like, I had the Xbox One. I keep getting these games. I bought like The Shining, Renaissance, Refrain. Played a little bit of it, but there's like nothing. Like I have a bunch of fucking games unopened. I have other games that I played some of and like put down or something else, and it's like I have no interest in almost anything right now. On these newer, the Xbox One and shit, the Switch is giving me more interest, but I'm like, this is the time to say fuck it. I'm gonna keep going after that Xbox One stuff because I don't know. Right now, the original Xbox is more interesting to me than the Series S or the Series X and the Xbox One. As crazy as that sounds, but I've been more interested in that system and shit. I'd like to kind of go full bore on it too and really start fucking focus on playing games on that shit and like finishing them and shit, but we'll see. And I'd like to go after some more Game Boy Advance shit as well. I have not used that little system enough because I can play them on the big screen, which is cool. I need to take advantage of more of that as well, so I might look into some more Game Boy Advance games. Of course, Game Boy Advance is another system where you got your very cheap games, your moderately priced games, and then your fucking extremely expensive ones. So I might go after that a little bit too. I mean, like I said, I fucking have a ton of shit I could play, but it's like weird. I'm like, I mean, you guys play games, you know what I'm talking about. You almost have too much, or you're like, you can't, like you're in a zone where you don't have that game. You want to just throw in and play the fucking shit out of and complete. I mean, we're doing that with Kirby, but even Kirby, we stopped for a little bit. I mean, we'll end up finishing it, but I mean, for myself personally, like a game, like I'm just like, okay, here we fucking go. I had it with what was the last game I had it with that? It wasn't. I mean, I did play. I mean, maybe like Devil's Daughter, Sherlock Holmes' Devil's Daughter, and back in January I played that through. G.I. Joe I played through, but that was like a quick kind of random game. I was like, oh, fuck it, it's not that long. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think the last game I really invested a shit ton of time in and was so fucking into was Yakuza Like a Dragon. That was the one where I was like, fuck yes, that game was awesome. I need to focus on a lot of Switch shit too. I gotta complete Luigi's Mansion, Link's Awakening. Like, those are games I really fucking like, but just like put down. The Switch is the one that I actually probably should have. I mean, I got Bravely Default fucking 2. I've got Octopath Traveler I can go back to. A couple of unopened games as well. I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's not a bad problem to have. It's just sometimes I don't. It's like I need a game that I'm like, yes, fucking boom, done, I thought maybe Lego Star Wars, a Skywalker Saga might be that. And it looks cool, and I'll probably pick it up at some point when it drops in value, or drops in price, I should say. But, I watched a video on it, and it looks cool, but I'm just like, I'm not interested in that right now either. As I'm sure all of you, anybody who plays games, you know what I'm talking about, that feeling where you just can't find a game that pulls you in and just it's your main focus, Because I haven't even been playing much outside of, we played a ton of Kirby. I played some of Akai, and I want to play a little bit more of that. I want to focus on one of the Xbox games, actually maybe an X-Men Legends or the Turok game, or even the Hobbit game for that matter. But what are you going to do? It's just that the Xbox, the memories and nostalgia's there, and again, there's games I didn't play and stuff, or games I didn't finish. I was like, why not go back to that? I have a lot of good memories from that era of gaming. Like I think I've said in the past, that was like the last era of gaming for me personally that mattered in a sense. When you got a new game, it meant something. Like you get new games now, and even back on the 360 PS3, it was just like, it didn't have the same feel. Like the games were awesome. In some cases, even better than, what came before, like better selection, but I remember getting The Simpsons Road Rage for the GameCube. Like, okay, I'm not gonna get another game for a little bit. I gotta enjoy the shit out of this one, you know. Like Rogue Squadron, Rogue Leader was another one. And I got like Super Smash Brothers, Melee was the GameCube one, and like Agent Under Fire and shit, and Eternal Darkness, and then the Resident Evil remake. Like it just mattered more. It was almost better in a way than as stupid as it sounds, that they weren't pumping games out right out of the gate immediately. And then it started to ramp up. The PS2 started to pump out a ton, but in terms of the GameCube, they didn't pump out a complete shitload, and the Xbox was kind of ahead of the Cube a little bit in that sense. But the PS2 was the one that would get more out. But you almost had to pick and choose more then, which was kind of nice, you know. I mean, now it's like, because even back then, games wouldn't drop quickly. At least I don't remember them dropping super fast in terms of used value, like a GameStop, and Funko Land's still around. Electronics Boutique and whatever the Funko Land was, GameStop, right? But like even now, I mean, even like back on the Xbox One, like I remember getting Sunset Overdrive for like $5 new, like a year after it came out. That's fucking nuts, and that game's amazing. Same thing with Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. I got that for like $8 or $9 new, a year after it came out. It's fucking crazy. The sales are crazy. I don't remember the sales back then being as nuts too, where you're like, okay, here comes a sale. All of a sudden. The one game I do remember was Devil May Cry. I got that. That came out in 01, right? Like tail end of 01. I got it in 02. Oh, it must have been. It was like September of 02. It was football season. I remember it was the fall, and maybe it was September. It was 02. And that was one that they made a greatest hits very fast. Like it sold well, and they immediately pumped out a greatest hits. It must have been on sale because the greatest hits go to 20, but it was $10. I was like, oh fuck yes! And that game was awesome. It was very short, but it was awesome. So that was one instance where I remember getting a game for really cheap, not long after it had come out. It probably was about a year, maybe even a little less. Because if anybody can recall this, and I think I'm remembering it right, is that they made that game sold quickly, and they made it a greatest hits very fucking fast. But, I don't know, I feel like Xbox 360 and PS3 era, the games popped out. They made them 60 again, right? Yeah, because they were still 50 in the PS2 era, and then they bumped them back up to 60. Right now, some are 70 for the newer systems. But, I remember games would drop quickly. I remember getting some fucking games for fucking turned fucking cheap on those systems, like not long after they came out. Like they would go on sale for like $30 off. I don't know. Maybe I didn't notice as much back in the day. But yeah, it's a hell of an era of gaming. You can argue that's the best. My favorite personal probably would be the Xbox. I don't know, the Super Nintendo Genesis, and throw TurboGrafx 16 in there as well. Because I had those, all three of them back then. I had a fucking shit ton of fun with those systems. I loved it. Of course, it depends. I was started with the Nintendo. I had an Atari. I want to say I played some Atari. Might have been 2600. But like the first game system I put a ton of time in was the NES, and I also ended up with a Atari 7800 as well. But NES was. I had a Master System too, which I still don't know what the fuck ever happened to that thing. But I have a ton of games for that. That looked better than the Nintendo, but the Nintendo just had more games. And then you went into just the Super Nintendo was such like a leap. You're like, holy fuck, And the Genesis was fucking awesome too. Like, TurboGrafx was solid too, but that wasn't like a true 16-bit system. It was like an 8-bit system, but had like 16-bit colors or some fucking shit. Still like a game. I mean, like I said, I talked about the game regret involving that, but I had some great games for that system. Bloody Wolf, Splatterhouse. The original Splatter fucking house was awesome. 2 and 3 ended up coming out on the Genesis, and they're extremely expensive now. But Splatterhouse, fucking Bloody Wolf, Vigilante. I remember China Warrior I bought before I got the system. That game kind of sucked though. F-Zero I bought before I got Super Nintendo as well. I remember playing a lot of King of Casino, Pac-Land, Keith Courage, Bonks, and Bonks Revenge. I had quite a bit of fucking TurboGrafx games actually. Dungeon Explorer. TV's, what's it called? TV Sports Football and TV Sports Baseball, I want to say. I had a couple other ones too. I can't remember. I had King Casino, like I said. I played that a lot too. That Bloody Wolf, Vigilante, Splatterhouse, I played a shit ton of. I had some other games too, I can't remember, but yeah. Anyway, turn this off now. I'm about to eat in a few seconds, but yeah, it's a video game ramble here, and thanks for checking this out. Have a good night, day. I'll be putting this up tomorrow, so it'll be at like 7 o'clock.